Do you have a Mac? Well, then this video is for you. This is why you should switch over to a Windows PC. Ditch the Mac, and mostly we're just going to investigate why Apple is scamming you on your computer. But let's go. So we can see I have this pulled up here. Let's investigate the MacBook Air. See how they are overcharging you. M4 is a good, but M4 is a good chip. But do I recommend that you buy a Mac? No, unless you're doing editing and in like designing or 3D modeling, like something that like is hard on the CPU and GPU. Then yes, you can get a Mac, but a Windows PC would just be just as fine. $999 is a good price for it since last year it was like 1100, I think. Okay, yeah, bye. Okay, 15-inch from 1200 and then 13-inch from 1000. Steam. But here is where the problem comes in. So for an extra 8 gigs of RAM, it's $200. And I get it. Like, it might actually be useful. No. Just no. I could probably get an Gig 6 of, I'm assuming this is DDR5. I don't know. Maybe for like, I don't know, $50, probably even less. In a 512 gigs SSD. I could get a 2 terabyte SSD for probably $200. So see, plus $400. So okay, so right here, that's not that bad of a price to add. And of course, the Magic Mouse is gonna come. But nobody really likes a Magic Mouse. So let's try what the price is for the maxed out. $2,200 for with a 10-core CPU, a 10-core GPU, a 16-core neural engine, 32 gigs of unified memory, 2 terabyte SSD, which I probably would have gotten for like $200, maybe. So we figured that you probably shouldn't get the. I'm sorry, it doesn't come with the Magic Mouse. I'm thinking of a Mac, but we figured out that you probably shouldn't get a MacBook Air unless you really want to. Now it's MacBook Pro. And of course, we have the 16-inch and the 15-inch. Let's just go from the 14-inch. I mean, the 14-inch to the 16-inch. Let's go for the 14-inch. Then we can do old chips, M4, and then M4 Pro. We'll figure that out. So I think that we can do that, like select it, and then we can change it. So of course, you have the nano texture display. And of course, they're ripping you off on the memory and the storage. And so yeah, it's gonna be about the same amount as the MacBook Air. So yeah, the difference is that it has 10-core and 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU. So yeah, now the M4 Pro. And And then of course you have like a 14 core and 20 core. They're about $400 apart each. $40 core GPU, so see, like, that's gonna obviously be an improvement from the original 16 core. And that's plus 1400 for that for 128 gigs, which is not worth it because an 8 terabyte SSD is not worth 2400. And then of course we get the M4 Max. And then 6900 would be the maxed out. So yeah, and then we go back to Mac. And then we can go to iMac. Which isn't that bad. So they've got the M4. So maxed out is like you can obviously get up to 32 gigs. Yeah. It should be around 2,000 for this. The only upside of getting like a iMac is that, of course, the computer is built into the monitor, so you know. Well, it's not a monitor, but like the computer has a display, but it's like a desktop. It's not a monitor, since you can't. Not that I'm aware of, you can't. There is no HDMI. Yeah, no. There are Thunderbolt ports. There are 4 Thunderbolt ports. And it's a 4.5 Retina display. 4.5K, I mean. 4.5K 24-inch Retina display. And of course, you also have this one. Oh, yeah. Which is around 1900, where it maxes out. Then we have the Mac Mini, which is where this might actually be good. This is where you can actually be good. You have the M4 chip for $600, which is so much better. You buy a monitor for like $100, so that is actually a good deal. This is the one that's a good deal. And $1,400 for M4 Pro, 24 gigs, is a good deal. So if you're gonna get a Mac, I recommend getting the Mac Mini. Then we have the Mac Studio. And of course you have the M3 Ultra. Unless you're doing something like really hard, don't get the Mac Studio. And of course we have the Mac Pro, which we all know is the biggest waste of money in the world. I press buy. Yes, the Mac Pro. Configure it. M2 Ultra is a good chip but it's just not worth it for any like everyday person. Like maybe for like an office person or like if you're doing extreme calculations, but like any name person, like it's $10,000. Like that's a lot. For like that money, I could get like a maxed out 5090 PC. You could. And Windows is not as optimized for this stuff, of course. But you could get 5090, 9950 X3D, a lot of RAM, like 192 gigs of RAM. Of course, that would be more unstable on Windows because that's just how it is. But you could get that for a bit cheaper, so there's that. And we can see how much the maxed out would be. And we will do the licenses this time. $12,000. So do I recommend you getting a Mac Pro? 100% not. Do not get a Mac Pro. Then we, of course, we have the display, which do not get them. $5,000. Yeah, 6K is great, but is anybody? It's like 6,000 pixels. Yeah, does it make a difference between 4K? No, there's not that much of a difference. And then you, of course, have nano texture, anti-reflective. And then you have all this. Then you have the thunder ports. But there's something even more outrageous. So the Pro Stand. The Pro Stand. Nope, that's not it. This is the last thing. It's $1,000. $1,000. $1,000. 1,000. Who was outrageous enough to pay $1,000 for a stand? Oh, you can even get the adapter. 200. And then the Mac Pro wheels. $700. And then $300 for that.